So guys, we all have heard about patents, copyrights, trademarks and their use in various industries. But what are they, right? And why are they used by various companies? So they are nothing but they are intellectual properties, types of intellectual properties, and they're used to protect the innovation done by the firm, right? So there are various types of IPs, and so in today's video we will discuss what are the various types of IPs, what are the various types of innovations that the IPs can protect, and what are the things that even an IP cannot protect, right? So there are various disadvantages to having an IP as well. So in today's video we will also have a look at many examples in real life examples so that we can relate to what various IPs do and what various IPs are. तो अगर आप इस चैनल पे नए हैं तो लाइक करिए, शेयर करिए, कमेंट करिए, और अगर अभी तक आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो सब्सक्राइब जरूर करना, बेल आइकन हिट करना भूलना मत, ताकि मेरे लेटेस्ट वीडियोस के नोटिफिकेशंस आप तक सबसे पहले पहुंचे। So hi guys, my name is Siddhant and I'm your entrepreneur consultant, and today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic, that is intellectual property rights. What is an IP? What are the different types of IT? How to protect innovations? How to protect various types of innovations? And what type of innovations cannot be protected by an intellectual property, right? तो आज का वीडियो काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाला है, तो अगर आपको ये जानने में दिलचस्पी है तो ये वीडियो ज़रूर आखिर तक देखना। So guys, before moving to different types of intellectual properties and before discussing the protection of innovation, let's broadly classify the innovation first into two types, right? The first can be a product innovation, that is any innovation that the firm does in physical tangible products or services that it sells to the consumers, and the other one can be a process innovation, an organizational innovation, right? So it can be an innovation in the process of creating the product, or it can even be an innovation in the supply chain and back end of the business, right? So these are basic two classifications of any innovation. But why do firms innovate? Why do the firms feel the need to innovate, right? So let's talk about first the product innovation. So probably the reasons why firms innovate their product is first to increase their market share, to gain new market share, right? The second reason may be to achieve above normal profit margins. Like अगर मेरे पास एक यूनिक प्रोडक्ट है तो मैं मार्केट में उसके लिए जो चाहे वो प्राइस चार्ज कर सकता हूँ क्योंकि मेरी मोनोपोली है, राइट? सो इट कैन बी टू गेन अबव नॉर्मल प्रॉफिट मार्जिन्स. एंड द थर्ड रीजन कैन बी टू बिल्ड इट्स रेप्यूटेशन अमॉन्गस्ट इट्स customers, amongst the potential customers as well. For an example, suppose Apple के products, उसके features, उसका operating system काफ़ी unique है, right? And Apple has now developed an image, a reputation for developing unique features and products, and each and every feature of Apple is also protected by an IP, right? So it can be to create a reputation. Now we have understood that why do firms do product innovation, but why do the firms do process innovation, right? Doing a process innovation is not easy. Maybe they do to increase the efficiency, the productivity, the quality of the product that they manufacture. It can be to adopt new approaches, new practices that have new technology, that have trending technologies, or it can also be to increase the reliability and predictability of the goods, right? So those are the few major reasons for product innovation and for process innovation. So now that we have understood that what are the different types of innovations and why do firms innovate, let's move on to protection of those innovations, because those innovations give any company, business or startup an edge over their customers. They help in gaining market share, they help in charging premium prices. So every innovation takes a lot of time and investment by any firm or business, right? So it is very important to protect those innovations. So basically there are four types of IPs, intellectual property rights, that you can use to protect your innovation, right? So the first one can be patent, second one can be registered designs or design patents, the third one can be copyright, and the fourth one can be trademark, right? So those are the four types of IPs. So let's start by patent. So what is patent? So patent is nothing but an ownership of the invention that the government of any particular country gives to the inventor for a specific period of time. So it can be 10 years, 20 years, depending upon various countries, right? So just to tell you a fun fact, first English granted patent was way back in 1449, and it was for a method used to create stained windows, and it was given for a 20-year monopoly, right? So it was, the period was 20 years back then. So what all can be patented? What type of invention is granted as a patent, right? So first, it should be something totally new that doesn't exist now. and it should be something that has been done for the first time. Second, it should have an inventive step, and the step should be such that it should not be a very obvious step, right? It should be such that only the experts can figure out after a long research. So an inventive step can make it a patent. And third is most important thing is that it should be capable of industrial application. Developing or inventing a product that has no industrial application cannot be granted a patent, right? So the product or the invention that you have done should be of industrial application. Only then and then it will be considered for patent. Now, what cannot be patented, right? The first thing that cannot be patented is any scientific innovation that doesn't have an industrial application. Second, artworks like literature, music cannot be patented because for them we have another IP that I'll discuss in the further video, right? And the third is any device that is built which is against the current laws of physics. So suppose किसी ने टाइम मशीन डेवलप कर ली, सो टाइम मशीन पे आपको पेटेंट नहीं मिल सकता क्योंकि टाइम मशीन डिफाइज द लॉज ऑफ फिजिक्स, राइट? सो यू कैन नॉट गेन अ पेटेंट ऑन दैट. So now you can see the list of top patenting firms all over the world. So these are the firms that have largest number of patents under their name. So the first one is IBM, it has over 9,000 patents. Second is Samsung, third is Canon, fourth is General Electric, and fifth is Intel Corp, sixth is Alphabet, the parent company of Google. So these are the top 6 firms that have the highest number of patents, right? And this is as per I think 2018 records. Also, just to tell you one more fun fact, that mousetrap is the most patented thing in the world. In fact, now they have stopped giving patents on mousetraps, right? And currently the mousetrap that we use, as you can see, was invented in 1889. Now let's move on to the second type of IP, that is registered designs. What is registered designs? So registered designs is nothing but it protects the appearance of the products. It is generally used in low-tech products like footwear, mostly in footwear. And design registrations are granted only if the product is new and has an individual character, right? So for example, Jimmy Choo, which is a footwear company, has the highest number of registered designs in UK. Now in all the European Union countries and also UK, there are design registrations and not design patents, but in the rest of the world, including Japan, China, America, they have design patents and not design registrations. It's just the same thing, but they call it differently, right? And also design registrations are not that effective. You can see some of the examples here. It's like Samsung Tab and iPad. It's like you can see the example of vacuum cleaners. You can also see an example of children's carry bag, right? So it is very easy to develop a similar product, right? And design registrations are not that protective in nature. So now the third type of IP is copyright. Ab kya hai copyright? Now we all know that. So what is copyright? Copyright is something that is granted to any artistic work or work of expression. Like it can be literature, it can be music, right? It can be songs. It can also be computer software. You all know that all the major computer softwares have copyright written on them, so you cannot infringe that copyright, right? So now again, copyright has a big drawback to it. That is, copyright protects the expression of the ideas, but not the ideas themselves. Like if I have to build an e-commerce website like Amazon, then even if I cannot copy the code of Amazon directly, but I can develop an e-commerce website, right? So creating an e-commerce website is an idea by itself, but its code is expression of the idea. I cannot copy the expression of the idea, that is, I cannot copy the code, but I can copy the idea, that is, I can create an e-commerce website. And in today's digital world, copyrights have become a very big issue because making copies is very cheap, and nowadays even copies have a very good quality of products. And another major drawback of copyright is that copyrights are unregistered, unlike the other IPs. So even if someone copies the copyright, it is very hard to police the copyrights and to find out whether it has been copied or which is the original one, right? Now moving on to the fourth and the last IP is trademarks. So we all know that trademarks are used to protect the logo, symbols, the names, the signage that any brand uses to create its brand identity, right? So it is something that distinguishes a brand from one another. Now example, you can see a few examples here like the Starbucks and McDonald's, right? Now this you cannot do with the Starbucks logo because this is trademark infringement. You cannot do this with the McDonald's logo because this is again the trademark infringement, right? So now just to summarize what all we have learned regarding the 4 types of IPs that we have discussed. So first, so any useful idea that has an industrial application can be patented first. The second is any original expression which is artistic, which is literary, graphical, videographic, audiographic, it can be copyrighted. Third is distinctive identity but non-tangible, non-physical, can be trademarked like logo, shape, sound, color. And the fourth one is the physical application, distinctive but physical application like shape, configuration, ornamentation can be design registered, right? So now there are various everyday objects around us that have a lot of patents and IPs registered around them. So just to take an example, you can see a jar of Nescafe Gold Blend, right? So the contents of the jar, the lid, the seal, the design, the labeling, everything is IP protected, right? The shape and the lid of the jar is protected by design registrations. The copyright protects the artwork in the labels, and also the trademark protects everything related to the shape of the jar, the shape of the lid, the color, everything is protected by the trademarks, right? So in this, however, you must have seen a lot many other coffee companies selling their coffees in jars but having slight different shape, slightly different shape of the lid, slightly different labeling. So this is one of the drawbacks of having an IP, that IP cannot protect everything that you have innovated, right? Therefore, there are many other methods of protecting an intellectual property which we'll discuss in a future video, because there are many other useful methods which help in maintaining the secrecy of the brand, secrecy of the product. But I think it will take one more video for that, so we will discuss them in the next video. So now let's conclude the video by saying that having an IP is very important, but we should not be over dependent on them. And if you have something unique, innovative, inventive, then do register it for an IP. For example, we all know that who invented the first telephone, right? You can see 2 gentlemen here. The first is Alexander Graham Bell, and who is the other one? The other one is Antonio Meucci. So he is the person who invented the telephone first, even before Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. However, the only mistake that he did was that he did not register for a patent. And what makes Alexander Graham Bell the inventor of telephone is that he invented it and he registered for the patent. So guys, I hope you must have understood all different types of IPs and what are their advantages, what are their disadvantages, right? And अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद है तो लाइक करिए, शेयर करिए, कमेंट करिए, सब्सक्राइब करिए इस चैनल को, बेल आइकन हिट करना भूलना मत, ताकि मेरी लेटेस्ट वीडियोस के नोटिफिकेशंस आप तक सबसे पहले पहुंचे। सो गाइस, फिर मिलेंगे एक अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए गुड बाय, टेक केयर, थैंक यू।